Hello, this is John Lutz with Promoter Power LLC in Colorado. I just wanted to give a review of this course from Scott Paton, Scott Paton, from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. He's been doing podcasting for over 10 years now and is very good at podcasting and training people. This course is $147, but I would think it would be 3 to 4 times that much. As a matter of fact, I would put the value at $500 or more. And one thing that you really can do that's good is it has a 30-day money-back guarantee, although I guarantee you very, very few of you will be asking for your money back. And another thing that caught my attention is in 30 reviews here, there's a five-star average, which is very rare, especially in 30 reviews. I've seen hardly any other products or courses that have five-star average reviews, 30 reviews. It's called Power Podcast, Social Media Business Podcasting Success, presenting the Power Podcaster's publishing process for procuring positive people, how to make podcasts with free hosts. And the course description, it was updated as of February 2015. Discover how to make a podcast fast, easy, and free. Join over 1,500 students using Power Podcasting to position themselves as the expert, build relationships, grow their influence, increase sales, and change the world. Podcasting is bigger than you think. When we survey people who listen to audio, AM, FM, streaming audio, CDs, TV music channels, and Sirius, we discover a Power Podcasting fact. Podcasts almost beat AM, FM radio, a mere 1.6% lower in listening time. Power Podcasting rocks. In further description, it says, if you look at the number of people listening to podcasts monthly, podcasts are as popular as Twitter with 39 million listeners, even if it doesn't get the same, quote, love, end quote. But instead of communicating in impersonal 150-character tweets, with Power Podcasting, you get right into the head of your target market for as long as they let you. Now I'm going to go into the curriculum a little bit. Section 1 is, what is podcasting and why should you podcast? There's 10 videos in here, and then it has a quiz at the end. Several of these sections have a quiz, so you can walk through the videos and then take a quiz to see if what you learned, you take notes, or you just go through the quiz and see what you learned. That's 5 questions. One thing that caught my attention in section 1 is podcasts and new cars. A lot of foreign and domestic car manufacturers, particularly car manufacturers in the United States, are putting USB things into their cars to plug your iPad or your iPhone in so you can listen to podcasts, audio podcasts, right in your phone while you're driving around, rather than having to drive home and plug it into your computer and listen to iPhone, iTunes, or FeedBurner or other podcasting places where you can upload your podcasts. You can just listen to it right in your car through your iPhone or your iPad. That really caught my attention. Section 2 is setting up your podcast show, and there's a podcast show setup quiz at the end of this section, 5 questions again. And then in section 3 is creating your MP3 audio for your podcast, and there's a quiz at the end of this section called audio recording, 3 questions. And then section 4 is setting up your first podcast episode. He goes in depth on how to do that. And then one thing that really caught my attention in section 4, setting up your first podcast episode, is he does a Google Hangout with Mark Timberlake, part 1 of 2, original raw unedited hangout with Mark Timberlake, and original raw part 1 and original raw unedited hangout with Mark Timberlake, part 2 of 2. And then finished audio podcast of Mark and Scott's Hangout telling you how to set up your first podcast episode. And then section 5 is submitting your Power Podcast to iTunes, how to get an iTunes account and how to submit your first Power Podcast to iTunes. And there's a quiz at the end of this section called Pinging, 3 questions, how to ping your thing into very many pinging sites all at once rather than doing it one at a time. And then section 6 is marketing your podcast. And one thing I liked about this is at section 6 there's a social media and Google Plus, a conversation with Mark Timberlake, part 1, and the social media and Google Plus, a conversation with Mark Timberlake, part 2, marketing your podcast, how to do that, and then podcasting the power networking tool 1 and then podcasting the power networking tool 2. Section 7 is power voice coaching. This really caught my attention because if you listen here, you listen to the put your best voice forward 1 plus audio download, put your best voice forward 2 plus audio download, and put your best voice forward 3 plus audio download. This is done with a gentleman who's done power voice coaching for audio for many years, 25 to 30 years. His name is Jesse James. It's not Jesse James on TV that builds the motorcycles. It's not that Jesse James, but this is a power voice coaching expert for 25 to 30 years. His name is Jesse James. It's JesaiJaymes, Jesse James, and he's a private person, so it's really hard to find him even on the internet. I've tried. And then there's your power voice quiz there for 3 questions at the end of section 7. Section 8 is what's next, course wrap up and opportunities. There's more power voice coaching coming soon with Jesse James. And then section 9, Q&A and podcasting news, other podcast hosting options. Scott Patton tells you about this too. How did I make that selfie video look so good? And installing PowerGrammo for recording Skype interviews, PC only. PowerGrammo is for recording Skype interviews. Rather than recording Skype to Skype, you can actually get this piece of software for very cheap from a special link that Scott Patton gives you at the end, and you can get this real cheap. One thing I like about Scott Patton too is he gives you places like to get microphones and boom arms and things like that for real cheap, rather than just having to pay the full price. He gives you places where you can go to. He gives you special links with a discount for all that stuff, for power podcasting equipment and things like that, and even for video cameras and video things to take a selfie with you. So I would rank this a 5 out of 5. This is John Lutz signing off, and I think it's worth way more than even the $147 price, like I said at the beginning. I would put it at $500 or more easily. So just wanted to let you know that. John Lutz signing off. Have a great day. Thanks.